You're listening to the Smart Yoga Teacher Podcast, a community of business-minded yoga professionals helping each other grow their businesses and share yoga with the world. Now, here's your host, Melissa Ledger.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show today. I am pumped about today's guest, Erika Lee, co-founder of Wuf Shanti, and she was actually a referral from Kidding Around Yoga, and they are doing such cool things, and I highly encourage you to just check out their site. It'll kind of give you a lot of context as to where the interview is coming from and what they're doing, and it's such a cool business, and I really wanted to bring them on, one, because they're a newer business, so I try to interview lots of different people in different phases. Sometimes they've already kind of not hit their peak, but they've done all of the work and now it's just kind of expansion. And Wuf Shanti is in probably the earlier phases of their business, but it's so cool to see the process and some of the lessons that they've learned and taking a vision or their mission from an idea or something that we feel in our heart and then transforming it into something to share with the world. So they have a lot of really cool things coming on board. I would definitely look them up. And I really hope you enjoy the episode. Hopefully you can get, again, just more ideas. And I think we all love to teach. Obviously, that's probably why we're listening to a yoga teacher podcast. And we all have our own, hopefully, business ideas, but thinking of just maybe creative ways to share yoga that's not just teaching and still being in the yoga industry. And maybe we teach full time and that's how we support them ourselves. Or maybe we kind of pair yoga with something else and not necessarily always teaching in a community setting, but just doing something different with like products and services and books. So I hope you get a lot from this episode. Again, check them out. They're so cool, especially if you have little ones. And even if you don't have little ones, I thought their site was so cute. And Wuf Shanti, the little character, was awesome. So I hope you enjoyed the show. And yeah, we'll just get right into it. All right, everyone, welcome to the show today. I'm so excited. We've got Erika Lee, president and co-founder of Wuf Shanti. Welcome to the show today, Erika.
Hi there. Thank you.
So if you can, before we get into Wuf Shanti, we just have a couple of questions that we kind of ask everybody so our listeners have an idea of who you are. Can you give us a quick intro of how you got started with practicing yoga and then teaching yoga?
Well, I started practicing when I was 18 years old and just turned 40 this month, so about 22 years ago. And I was in college, and there was a female-only string of gyms opened by, some people may remember Corey Everson. She was like an aerobics and fitness guru at the time, and he opened up a little string of women's fitness gyms, and I found a yoga class there. And it wasn't really called yoga back then because that wasn't mainstream. In fact, she wasn't allowed to call it yoga. They had to call it mind, body, flow, and it was a mixture of Pilates. Yeah, it was a mixture of Pilates and yoga. But in the end, now down the line, I definitely know that it was a full yoga practice, and I absolutely fell in love with it and have been practicing ever since. And then in 2008, I decided to do my first 200-hour training and literally started teaching full-time right then and never looked back.
And what were you doing before you were teaching yoga?
I worked at a vet clinic. I was a vet technician, and so I worked with animals, and it was hard to leave the practice, but I just felt that my dharma, my path was yoga, and I just needed to fulfill that as much as possible.
I didn't know about the vet tech thing, and I think it's awesome with the Wuf Shanti thing.
Oh, yeah. I love animals.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then the other question I had for you is, what's the most challenging thing about teaching yoga as a business and the one thing that's made it worthwhile?
Oh, wow. Well, I would say really the only main challenge that I've found is that financially at times it can be strenuous to just make it as a yoga teacher. And so you end up driving a lot. So driving has become, I don't know, I make an adventure. You know, I got myself a good car that I love and I listen to audiobooks so I can just be a nerd while I'm driving. And but that can be, you know, that's the challenge, is kind of driving from studio to studio and trying to make ends meet can be a little bit difficult sometimes. In regards to the benefits and what it's brought to my life, I couldn't even list it in 100 words, but it's just so amazing. I loved yoga, and I had no idea how much teaching would inspire me even more, how much my students would inspire me, just to see my students be able to be vulnerable and see their breakthroughs and have them trust me to hold a sacred space for them. It's just, there's really no word it's priceless.
Yeah, and I think a lot of our listeners and community can totally relate.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now, I actually have never met you personally. Wuf Shanti was a referral from Harris Lunder at Kidding Around Yoga. She was in episode 1. But you guys have so many cool things going on. So can you tell our listeners about Wuf Shanti, the story, and how you got involved and got it all going?
Oh, absolutely. And Kidding Around Yoga has been an integral part in helping us through this process. We just appreciate and love them immensely. Wuf Shanti was born about 3 years ago, actually, and my business partner and good friend at the time was a student of mine. Oddly enough, being a vet technician, I did pet sitting on the side, and she was a pet sitting referral. And in 3 years of our friendship, I walked her dog probably once, but I taught her yoga twice a week. So her son, Adam, is amazing, and he is an old, beautiful, talented soul. And he wrote a book called My Grand Dog Was a Yoga Instructor. It was dedicated to his great-grandfather, who was a yogi and a sage in his own right. And he created this book, and he gifted it to me for my birthday, along with 4 yoga mats for my 3 cats and my dog.
Aww.
Yeah. So it was just this really beautiful story, and we printed it in kind of like a manuscript style in the original illustrations that he and his mom, my partner, drew themselves. And we sold it for charity. And, time and life went by, and we just kind of put it in the back burner. And I actually relocated from South Florida to California. And a few months into that, my partner called me and said, hey, I really want to pay it forward in this life. I want to do something that matters. Let's do something with Wuf Shanti. So we dove in together, just 2 chicks, and thankfully her very supportive husband, who's technologically adept more than we are. And we created a website and a business and a character, and we have products and a really great interactive website with Wuf Shanti practicing yoga poses all over the world. And those are also in YouTube videos. And we've done a few events, and we're just letting things build.
It was funny because when I was talking to Harris, she was like, you got to check out Wuf Shanti. And I pulled up the site, and I was like, oh my gosh. And she's like, you have to have them on your podcast. I'm like, yes, I do. It's got, because you guys have the Wuf Shanti, like the, I don't know what you call them. I'm at a loss for it. The mascot, the
mascot. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like all the videos and the pictures, it's super cute. I am actually not a great kids yoga teacher. It's a challenge for me, but I love children practicing yoga. Even if I'm not the one to teach, I love having them start early and learning it in like such a fun, like, because they can't come to our adult classes really and really enjoy it or get it, but like just teaching those skills in little micro bites that are fun. So I love everything that you guys are doing. And one question that kind of came up for me while you're talking is you guys kind of started this and like the website and the videos and all this stuff, but you didn't necessarily have a lot of experience. So you guys just kind of went for it. Is that kind of how it went?
I would say our experience was her being a mother and me being a yogi, and so more life experience. But in regards to starting a new business and creating products and marketing and a website, no, we were fresh and brand new to all of that. But we just had a vision. We had the mission to bring mindfulness and gratitude, joy and love and light to kids, and that was really all the motivation and knowledge that we needed. And we've, had some great support from family and friends along the way. But yeah, we were just like, I don't know, let's give it a shot. We don't know what we're doing, but it's manifesting beautifully. So let's just roll with it.
Yeah. And I think that's so inspirational because we get a lot of people who they always feel like, oh, I've got this vision or I want to do this, but I don't have the experience. I don't know how to do it. And I always feel like that doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter if you don't have the experience because as long as like your vision is there and your heart's in the right place, you're just going to move to that direction, and like all the other little stuff you'll learn. Like there's books that you can read and podcasts and
absolutely,
coaches,
and
that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a total learning process, and we've had some surprises along the way, some things that we thought would work that didn't, and things that we had no idea would manifest, and they have. Like much like your podcast, we created an interview series where we have yogis like Catherine Budig and Sean Korn doing an interview with us, which is amazing. So just being open to the possibilities has been really beneficial for us, and just trusting the process.
Yeah. And you guys don't actually have brick and mortar space, right? It's all, for the most part, online, unless you do like in-person events, right?
Correct. There's no official studio or store. It's just our entity online in our social media, and then our events and what we do to support our local communities. And
how do you interact? So how do you create and interact with those communities? Is it all online, or like how does everyone kind of connect and you reach out to the audience?
Well, a lot of it's been online. We have, obviously, all of our social media accounts and daily blogs from our website. But we've been fortunate to have a few events so far, and we're just in our infancy, really. So we had a really great coming out party when we had our book finally launched. We were published by a branch from Hay House, so we're very excited about that, and had just an amazing number of students and friends come and support, and little ones just running to Wuf Shanti and hugging him and latching onto his leg. It was just amazing. And then we had a really a nice event in Fort Lauderdale. There's a yearly event called Yoga Fest, put on by a studio called Yoga Fox, and they had us there. And so, just getting out into the public, and we're doing some work, hopefully soon, with St. Jude's Hospital, and that's kind of where we're headed, wanting to bring it out into the world, off the mat and out into the world.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's a really important point to make too, because you kind of mentioned like places that you've been. Is there a way, like, how did you make those connections? Were they people you already knew, or did you just reach out? Like, how did you kind of get this like grassroots thing kind of going?
It was, definitely from our support with family and friends. As I mentioned, I relocated to Southern California, but I still have deep roots in South Florida. That's where my teaching career began. And so we were able to have our book launching party at one of the studios that I used to teach at for years, Red Pearl Yoga, and they helped us out quite a bit. And then just the local connections that we had in Florida, we were able to get into the Yoga Fest, and we have some people looking for us to have Wuf Shanti do some appearances at birthday parties and events like that. So it's really been connecting with people trusting us and believing in our mission, and we're hoping to continue that path.
Very cool. Yeah, and I'm so excited to kind of meet you guys now, because I just feel like with all the stuff you guys are doing, that it's just, you guys are just going to do so many amazing things out there with Wuf Shanti. So now you do actually have like quite a bit of products and kind of services, like you mentioned, the birthday parties and things like that too, and products. So can you tell our listeners maybe like how, without that experience, how, like what products you have, and then how you started building those products or those services without the experience?
We started with the book. That was the very beginning of the process. And then when we decided to take it a step further, we sent our original manuscript, which, like I had said, was just hand illustrated, to a wonderful graphic artist who's actually in the family. So we were very appreciative for her help. And so we created this little manuscript into a real full color graphic book. And with that, with our logos, we were able to create a T-shirt line. We have 3 mantras that we like to share. And so we have 3 logos that go with our 3 mantras. Think well to be well, smile and the world will smile with you, and smile and say thank you. So each of our shirts have a different logo and a different mantra. And then from the shirts, we have expanded into beautifully embroidered yoga mats for humans and for animals. We have really cute yoga pants that are bright colors, and they have our logo embroidered right on the hem at the waistline. We have so many things I'm trying to think. We have a coloring book now. We're hoping to get a stuffed animal out in the world. And So that's where we're headed.
And what prompted you to kind of pick those items?
We were just, honestly, we're thinking that little ones would love to have Wuf Shanti, to wear Wuf Shanti. What we're learning now is that more than a shirt or even pants, which are really cute, the kids are connecting with Wuf Shanti as an entity, as a character, and seeing how drawn they are to the character when they come to an event and they run up to them and they hug him. It's just so powerful. So I think we're learning what's going to work in the market field and what's not. And more than anything, we're learning we need to build who we are as an entity. And then from that, people didn't know who Wuf Shanti was at all, and we were working on selling all these products. So now it's a matter of, well, who's Wuf Shanti? And then, well, does he have a product we can buy? Like, can we buy something with him on it? So It's been a total learning process, as I mentioned, but we've just been using our website and social media to help move our product and word of mouth.
Yeah, and you guys have a little Kickstarter thing going. Can you tell our listeners kind of about the plans for that and why you have a Kickstarter campaign going?
Definitely. We're very excited. We started it about 15 days ago, so we have about a month left on the Kickstarter. And we are wanting to create a TV pilot show so that we can get Wuf Shanti on maybe public broadcasting or something along those lines, so that we can create a little show where he teaches our principles and our mantras and some yoga and mindfulness, breath work, and something into a TV show form where we can be spread across the world. We're definitely wanting to do some work with children, and especially in children's hospitals and whatnot, and how wonderful would it be to be able to have, this Wuf Shanti TV show for them to watch when they're getting their treatments or in their hospital bed. That would be really powerful. So we need a certain amount of money to raise for that to happen, and we're hoping to raise that money and kick off our TV show pilot.
I think it's so cool, too, that you have this vision of, because a lot of us like to serve our local communities, but just like worldwide, and then getting that specific market, like in hospitals. What a great place for Wuf Shanti to be, right? And for for kids in hospitals to kind of have that, just something positive while they're kind of going through whatever experience that they're going through, and then learning some mindfulness and pranayama. Yeah.
And the really great side effect is that the parents receive it too. So that's always good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's funny, and I'm noticing because we've interviewed a couple of kids, yoga, either businesses or nonprofits, is it kind of is geared towards the kids, but then the parents and then everyone who's kind of just helping the business out in general gets just as much benefit, if not more, than the kids.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so I think it's really neat that you guys are doing the show. You've mentioned quite a lot of different things that you guys have going on. So you're getting the TV show out, and you've got the stuffed animal and the books, and it's a lot. And it's definitely a business. So do you have any advice? Because I think there's this misconception sometimes that when we see people who are doing these really great things, that it was luck, or maybe it was just easy, but it's really not. It's a lot of work. So do you have any advice for kind of moving people from, I have this vision of things that I want to do, to actually getting to the point where you guys are right now?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's kind of is universal law that when you really put your mind and energy and thoughts into something, that it can manifest. And in that regard, I think it's really important to have a very clear picture of what you want. Not what you think you want, not what you think might work, but what you really want. Put it on paper, study it, make sure that it's clear, clarify it. And then it doesn't mean that things won't shift as you go through the process, as we have, like I mentioned, we thought some things would work and didn't, and then we had some wonderful surprises along the way. But just really having a clear picture of what you want and not being afraid to put it out into the world. And it's not easy. There's a lot of late nights. There's stress. There's joy. There's bliss. There's all of that. And really reach out to your local communities, reach out to the people that are supporting you, and don't be afraid to ask for help, and just stay on your path. And it's wonderful to have an idea, but an idea is only an idea. It's only real when you put it into full motion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about the other thing that I've noticed, and you could just feedback either way, sometimes people will have these ideas of what they want, but they don't take action immediately because it's not perfect. With Wuf Shanti, did you guys wait till it was perfect, or did you guys, or like, how did that go for you guys?
I don't even know what perfect would mean. And yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that's with a lot of big decisions in our life. We think, well, we can't do it until it's perfect. Well, you don't know what's going to be perfect, if that's such a thing, until you start trying. And it's trial and error, and you'll find some things work and others won't. And it's also that you have to be not detached, but unattached to the outcome. And know that some things, don't take it personally. Try to take your personal ego out of it when things don't work out, because that's going to happen. And be thankful for when things work the right way. But be thankful when they don't, because that's where we learn our lessons and we know not to do that again.
Yeah, and I think not getting attached is so key. I think as an entrepreneur, I don't know how it is for you, but I know for me, like the hardest part was always like the highs and lows. When something awesome happened, like on top of the world, and then the next day or the next week, it kind of wouldn't work out the way I kind of planned.
Oh, yeah. It's a roller coaster at times. But it's totally worth the ride.
Yeah, it's totally worth it. And I think if you could just manage that, like everything else is a cakewalk compared to just like understanding like it's going to be okay if it doesn't work out.
Absolutely.
And I feel like sometimes as yogis, like we should kind of know better because we've had the training. But it's still, it's still definitely a practice of trying to get it all going. So,
Practicing what we preach.
I know. It's something, always got to make time for ourselves and making sure that we're doing it too, because otherwise we're just reading books versus actually living it. So.
Absolutely.
And now, where can people find out more about Wuf Shanti?
Well, you can find us at our website, www.wufshanti.com. We also are live on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter. And you can always email us with any questions or comments at thinkwell@wufshanti.com. And for now, that's it. Hopefully soon you'll be able to find us on your local TV station.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll definitely put... Oh, yes. And you guys have a Kickstarter campaign, and this episode will probably air mid-May of 2016. Can you tell our listeners about your Kickstarter campaign in case they want to kind of help share Wuf Shanti with the world?
Oh, absolutely. So at the end of this podcast, you'll find a link for our Kickstarter. And we are hoping to raise money for a TV pilot show. And we have a cap limit of $58,000, which is what we need for all of the production and everyone involved in it. So we're still working to reach that goal. And we have about 30 days left from the day of this interview. So hopefully you'll be able to find that link by then. And anything helps, even a $25 donation. For every donation that you make, you receive a different product depending on how much you donate, from a book all the way to a yoga mat and more, all kinds of goodies for our really big contributors. And if we don't meet our goal, then you get all of your money back in the end, and we'll have to find another way to raise the money.
Well, hopefully you guys reach your goal. So hopefully there won't be any refunds if anyone kind of wants to help out. And then you were also so kind to give a little promo for our listeners. What we'll do, was it for something specific, or should we just put the link at the bottom of the page in case we want to change it up?
Oh, yeah, you can put the link at the bottom of the page, and it's going to be $1 off your total order.
Yeah, they've got super cute things. And then I would just stop by the site anyways, especially if you've got little ones. Even if you don't have, I don't have little ones, and I spent like an hour on your site just checking things out. And before we wrap up the show, one of the questions that we do ask everybody is for you personally, and it doesn't have to be Wuf Shanti related, but if somebody wants to make yoga their full-time abundant career, what's the one piece of advice that you would give them?
Patience.
Mm-hmm.
One piece of advice is patience. Yeah.
That's excellent advice. So...
If it's just one word.
You can expand on it if you like, but yeah, patience is definitely...
I would say patience and love for the practice, and everything else will unfold. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Well, thank you so much for sharing Wuf Shanti with us, and thank you so much for your time. We will include all of your info again in our show notes area, but hopefully you'll get that goal, and hopefully we'll see Wuf Shanti everywhere, and we'll love to see all the work that you guys are doing.
Thank you for taking your time to talk to us today, and we really appreciate it and everything that you do in the world.
That wraps up episode 8. Thank you so much for listening, and a big thank you to Erika Lee from Wuf Shanti for sharing their experience with all of us. Now, if you'd like access to the promo code or the links and just to check out anything that we discussed, go to thesmartyogateacher.com and the podcast show notes area, and this is episode 8. So I hope you enjoyed the show. The next episode is building a corporate yoga business with D persons, and that's an amazing episode. Anybody who's interested in getting more corporate clients and working with organizations, she gives all sorts of great tips to help get you in. So thanks again, and we'll see you at the next episode.